Mr. True Nightmares, Episode 27. The father had just woken up and was lazing in bed. The mother was in the kitchen preparing breakfast. Hearing noises coming from downstairs, the father went back to sleep to get some more rest. But after a while, he suddenly opened his eyes. His wife was obviously singing a lullaby to their recently born baby. When he looked at the monitor, he saw that the baby was sleeping soundly and the mother was still singing. He got up, got dressed, and was about to go to them when he heard a knock on the door downstairs. It must have been their older child. She walked to the stairs to greet him and was stunned by the sight because the person coming through the door was his wife, who he thought had been singing a lullaby in the baby's room for minutes and had obviously not been home for a long time. For a moment, the father tried to understand the person in his wife's room. His eyes darkened for a moment, then focused. Meanwhile, his older children were standing at the top of the stairs at the entrance, watching their father's confusion. After a moment's pause, the father took one step after another and reached his wife's side. The figure at the door was an exact copy of his wife, the same facial features, the same smile, even the same clothes, but the father felt that something was strange. "Who are you?" he asked, feeling his heart beating fast. The woman smiled mysteriously. "I am your mother," she said, but with these words, a feeling of uneasiness rose in the father. His real wife was in the kitchen preparing breakfast, which meant that she could not be in two places at once. "Then who is the other woman in this house?" the father asked, determined to solve this mystery. The other children approached their mother in curiosity. The woman just smiled and said, "She is my sister." The confusion in Baba's mind increased. The fact that his wife said she was his sister, but knowing that his real wife was in the kitchen, signaled a mystery. The other children began to greet and hug their mother. The father, on the other hand, hesitated and faced an unsolvable puzzle. At that moment, the sound of a lullaby from the baby's room faded. When the father went to his room and looked at the monitor, he realized that the bed and the baby's room was empty. His eyes widened and his heart began to race. "Where's our baby?" he shouted. The woman, claiming to be his wife, just smiled and said, "He is with us now." After a moment's hesitation, the father decided to return to his real wife. He felt as if everything he was seeing was not real, and he was determined to find the truth in this mysterious situation. This moment was the beginning of an abnormal period for the family. The father took decisive action to uncover the truth, protect his family, and solve the mysterious situation at home. But many more secrets and horrors unknown to him would cast their shadow over the family. When the father approached his real wife, the other woman was still smiling. "What are you up to?" the father asked, with a look of concern and confusion. His real wife, standing next to him, asked, "Who is this? What is going on here?" She asked, "You don't know me, but I know you well." The unknown woman smiled mysteriously again. "You are not part of the family," she added, winking at his real wife. The father wanted to know where his baby was, but at the same time, he was trying to understand the strange situation in the house. The other children were just spectators, trying to understand the course of events. Suddenly, a shadow appeared, slowly moving away from the unknown woman. The shadow concentrated in front of the father and his real wife, and a figure appeared, the exact opposite of the woman before. This figure looked at the father and the real wife with a pale face and said, "I'm your wife too." Now there were two wives, one smiling and the other pale and mysterious. In the midst of this confusion, confusion. The father asked, "Tell me who you are. Where is my baby? We have her with us." The pale-faced woman replied. Suddenly there was a strange vibration in the house. The lights in the rooms flickered. The voices mingled. The father and his real wife embraced each other in amazement, while the other children were trying to make sense of these mysterious events. A faint child's laughter was heard, coming from the baby's room. The father rushed to his baby's room. When he opened the door, he saw his baby lying in the center of the room. But around the baby stood two women, one smiling and the other pale-faced. As one whispered in his ear, the baby looked at the other and laughed as the father tried to understand what he was facing. The mysterious situation inside the house grew more mysterious. With his wife and children lost in these mysterious events, he began an uphill struggle to find the truth and protect his family. The father held his baby in his arms amidst the chaos created by the mysterious being. "Tell me who you are and why you are here," he shouted, but none of them would explain. The smiling woman and the pale-faced woman were smiling silently, just looking at each other. Suddenly a bright light and a surge of intense energy filled the room. When the family regained consciousness, which had momentarily blacked out, they realized they were in a bedroom, but surprisingly, not the baby's room, but a completely different space. The father looked around with his real wife and other children. Everything seemed normal, but the strange events had left a fresh imprint on their memory. Their baby was sleeping safely in this new environment. For a moment, there was silence. Then the real wife said, "I think we were in a dream." The other children nodded, recalling the strange, dreamlike experience. When the father saw that their home had returned to normal, he began to accept that it had all been a dream. But the events were so real and frightening that the father questioned it. For some time, perhaps they had experienced a dream within a dream, or perhaps a thin line had blurred between reality and dream still. Puzzled by the reality of these mysterious events, the family decided to return to their normal life and hug each other tightly. Over time, the impact of this mysterious dream faded, but the bond between the family members grew stronger. Perhaps it reminded them of the strength to stand together against the challenges they would face in real life. The family accepted this strange, dreamlike experience as a test and continued to support each other.